Morning, Mike.
When specifically do the specifics come next week?
Look, we'll be discussing that at Cabinet on Monday, so just as soon as possible after that.
Okay. Do you have in mind, as you sit talking to us this morning, how big this is going to be and what you want to do?
Yeah, well, as we've said before, this is a very different kind of shock that's been experienced by parts of the economy here. So, obviously we've talked about it before, tourism industry, hospitality industry, forestry, those areas. So that means that the scale of it, we have to be able to work that out once we've got the criteria sorted. The criteria need to be about making sure it's companies who are directly affected by COVID-19. We want to see what their plans are in terms of getting through this. I had a lot of feedback from the business community in the weekend saying, don't go around propping up businesses that were already going under. Let's work together to identify those that we can support through this. So getting that criteria sorted this week, that'll then give us an idea of the scale. It's very serious for the companies affected, but it's still affecting different industries in different ways.
So you are targeting businesses and or industries?
Yeah, well, clearly, exactly, and also regions, Mike, as well, because there are specific regions that are affected via the flow-through of perhaps a more tourism-reliant region as opposed to one that isn't. Even within those industries, you've got some who are doing okay and some who are doing it tough at the moment. That's what makes this different. That's why we've got to make sure we take a tailor-made approach to get it right.
Frydenberg yesterday was asked in Australia, how big's the package going to be? He said billions. Is ours billions?
Look, you've got to remember that I talked to Josh Frydenberg myself over the weekend, and you've got to remember that we had our infrastructure package come through at the beginning of the year, $12 billion. We've also had an expansionary fiscal policy. They're going to be looking at things like that, as well as funding for the health system, which we also have already done. So look, this package will be significant. I'm not going to put a dollar figure on it right now till we get that criteria sorted.
Why won't you delay the minimum wage for the hospo workers?
Because we've got to strike the balance here, and the balance is that we do want people on low and middle incomes to have more money in their pocket. We know that people on the minimum wage spend their money, and we do need that at the moment.
But if I can't afford to pay that, they don't have any money at all.
Just as I was about to say, most businesses have already factored that in. They knew that was coming. It's been part of what they've been talking about for some time now. It's also the kind of blanket response that I don't think is appropriate in a situation like this. We're more interested in a target response that gets support to businesses and individuals where they need it. The minimum wage is a long-term thing that will help overall demand in the economy.
Other great debate across the Tasman at the moment, probably the surplus is gone. Frydenberg's credibility is on the line. Can he save Australia from a recession? That same question to you. Do you have the wherewithal to save us from recession?
The really good news is that going into this, we have net core crown debt far lower than what we inherited, under 20%. We've got the fiscal space to move as we need to.
Do you think the BNZ are right and we will have a recession?
Not the advice I'm getting at the moment from the Treasury, but this is a fast-moving situation, Mike. We can all see that from what's happened with the markets overnight overseas. The advice I'm getting is growth will be pretty hard to come by in that first quarter. We'll have to see how we go in terms of containing the virus and how the rest of the world reacts to it in terms of the second quarter. But I've been saying for some weeks now, Mike, this is going to affect the economy for the whole of the year. The exact numbers, they'll come through. My focus is on making sure we get support to the people who need it.